Welcome to Nutty Buddy Entertainment. The next award being presented today is the In This Moment Award. This is presented to the moment in the movies that had you feeling all kinds of ways. And the nominees are...
Oh, I'm looking forward to this one.
Okay, so this is an interesting one. Let's see here. I have, for the first honorable mention, the Queen's part in Civil War. And I believe, Elliot, this was on your list.
Good
so
choice,
you want to...
really good choice.
This was the title card when Black Widow's asking Tony, so who's your guy you're bringing in? I've cheated for this one because it's Civil War, not a direct Spider-Man film, but it's just the amount of joy I experienced seeing that title card come. Like, he's here. He's the biggest hero in Marvel's library. Is part of the biggest entertainment franchise in cinema history. And I went and I saw Civil War again the very next day with my good friend Dan and Jack. And Dan's a huge Spider-Man fan, so being able to just slightly turn left as that moment was happening, it's like, I can't wait for him to see this. He has no idea what's coming, and then just to see him gasp at the Queen's title card all over. It's like, we're home. He's home. We finally made it. So that's why, and I'm glad it's in the honourable mentions, this moment in particular, because in this moment I was feeling all kinds of ways, no doubt about it, and Neil definitely was as well.
Yeah, that was a good moment. I remember gasping myself in the theater. I was like, man, that's awesome. Yeah. Let's look at our next one, and I think this is on Neil's list, your flight home with Happy and Peter.
Yeah, I genuinely teared up when they were discussing Tony, because this is obviously the film came out a little over 2 months after Endgame was released, so it was all still fresh, seeing Iron Man sacrifice himself to save the entire universe. And it's just that moment. Tom Holland's at his absolute A game in that scene. You know, he's reached the absolute bottom of the, he's reached it in terms of his character's journey through the film. He's hit rock bottom. He's been beaten by a superior mind. But I think it's because he was so emotional, and it's just, he breaks in that moment. And it's that line, everywhere I go I see his face, and Happy just sort of stops and goes, you're not Iron Man, you're never going to be Iron Man. But what's the other line that absolutely breaks me? It's I don't think Tony would have done what he did if he didn't know you were going to be here after he was gone. Sorry, that's I just absolutely love that moment, and I felt genuinely upset thinking of a character that I really liked who's gone. I mean, I know there's a multiverse you can bring about, yada yada. It doesn't matter. It's that character has sacrificed himself, and you're watching the fallout from that and the grief that everybody is still going through this many months later. It felt like a nice tribute to Tony, and to see how much he meant to Peter, and how Happy is. Happy's got to move on, and he's still got a job to do. But one of his best friends, one of his oldest friends, is gone, and you see it. You feel like he's really putting up a wall of armor at that point, and even that it just starts to crack a little bit. And the grief just starts to show. Not too much, but he reveals himself a little bit. I just think it's a beautiful scene, and it's one of the reasons I really like that film. And every time I see Far From Home get kicked online, I get a little bit. What about the grief scene on the plane? Come on. I mean, what follows it immediately? Is he plays AC/DC. Says, I love Led Zeppelin. I do cringe a little bit at that. I'm like, all right, yeah, he's meant to be a kid. He doesn't, whatever, move on. But that's immediately followed by him making his own suit using the tech in the plane. That's a great. I just think the whole thing is a great scene.
Well, he probably loves Led Zeppelin because Tony did, right? Like that's like you know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of imitate the people that you look up to. So absolutely.
I see that, but it's more that it's AC/DC playing, but he says it's Led Zeppelin.
Oh, I got you. That's right. Yeah.
It's that makes me cringe a little bit. It's like, oh no, don't have him say anything at all. Just have him crack on with making the suit. Sorry, I should have explained that better. Sorry, that's on me.
Just have him crack a smile and said, like, yep, here we go.
Yeah, like, here we go. Right, I'm doing it. Yeah, don't have him name the wrong artist. It's that was unnecessary. But the rest of the scene, love it.
Yeah, it was a good scene. It also showed the weight that Peter felt on his shoulders.
Like he had to step up and be that. Everybody's expecting me to be the next Iron Man. He says, like, no, nobody's expecting it. People just want you to be a hero. Ultimately, that's it. That's all you need to do. That's all we need from you.
Yeah, great scene. Couple of good scenes here. Let's get into our nominees, though. Our first nominee is The Death of Green Goblin. And let's see here. I think this was on your list, Neil, as well. Did you want to go ahead and explain why this one should be the winner, or why you had this on your list?
I'm not sure. Do you know? I'm sorry, guys. I think I've got to consult my list. Did I put Green Goblin's death in?
It could have been both of us.
It might have been both of us. I mean, it is a great scene. I don't remember putting it on. Sorry, that might be on me, guys. Bear with me 2 seconds.
Yeah, you had it on the honorable mentions: Green Goblin versus Spider-Man and Raimi Spider-Man.
Right. Sorry, bear with me 2 seconds. Elliot, was it on your list?
Maybe I'll have a look.
It was on your battle list there, Elliot. So you both have it on your Art of War as well, which is the next award. But in this moment,
if you don't remember it, that's fine.
Oh no, heavens no! I can absolutely, because it is. I put it on there, and I must have put it on there for a reason. Sorry, bear with me 2 seconds. Honorable mentions gone. Yes, I have, and I now I'm looking at the list. I know exactly why I put it on there, because this is a kids' movie.
Mm-hmm.
This scene is utterly brutal. The way it's shot and the sound mix in this scene is incredible. Every single punch and kick lands with such ferocity, and you feel like Spider-Man is actually having the life beaten out of him by this deranged, steroid-infused maniac on a glider. It's what he said, I offered you friendship and you spat in my face. And then he starts kicking the living beat out of him.
Yep.
I remember seeing it as how old was I when, I was trying to think back to, I must have been about 15.
You were 15, yeah.
Yeah, about 15 when Raimi's first Spider-Man movie came out. I just remember thinking, wow, okay, this is apparently PG.
Yeah.
The British Board of Film Classification give this a PG. This feels really intense for a movie aimed at kids, but I'll never forget seeing that for the first time, and I can hear, just thinking about it in my mind now, I can hear each thump, each kick. I can hear every single sound effect in that scene. It is ferocious.
And
love it.
Yeah, and I think even at the end where he's like, "Don't tell Harry," as he bent in half,
slumps on the
and then "Don't tell Harry," and then he plops. Like, I remember that too, which is very. I think that statement itself was like powerful too, because the last thought he had was of his son. Like, don't tell Harry. That was the last thing he thought of, which was pretty powerful moment. Let's go to the next one. Gwen Stacy dying. This Is Me. Her death. It was on neither one of your list, and I was like, what, am I missing something here?
No, that is actually the only scene really in Amazing Spider-Man 2, bar the ending, which I don't know if is on anybody's list, that I really like in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, it was a very powerful scene.
Mm-hmm.
If you read comic books, you knew it was coming, but it didn't like take away from it, if that makes sense. And the moment that he grabbed her with that web that basically turned to like a hand. That's what it looked like. And it grabbed her, and then you heard her head hit you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Kind of like made you cringe a bit. And I thought Andrew's acting in that moment was very, very powerful. How torn up he was that he killed his girlfriend, his love. Elliot, how did you feel about that scene?
Much like Neil as well, because it just one of those, like, especially when a head hits the pavement as well, you just wince. Just he's like nearly like you just by a thread, like her life was lost.
It's the snap as well as her body just marionettes back, and it's the head hitting the floor. It's just oof. I think even in the cinema I went ooh. Yeah. Because I've slipped on ice before and landed on my back and smashed my head on the pavement, and I just went Oh,
Yeah, it was.
It's like I'm having a like PTSD flashback to hitting the pavement myself.
Head trauma, no matter how soft or hard it is when you hit, still hurts.
Oh man, yeah. Take it out, yeah.
It's true. It's true. Let's look at our last nominee, and that is the train scene of Spider-Man 2. Now, it was sort of on both your lists, but I'm gonna let Elliot take this one because he specifically mentioned he's just a kid, no older than my son. So Elliot, you want to take the lead in this one?
It's just the entire scene after the battle, because Peter is at his, because just he stops the train, he's broken his physical and mental breaking point, and just as he's about to fall, it's just the people of New York, just they latch onto the symbol just to carry him onto the train, and just in the moment, he's like, oh, he's just a kid. He's no older than my son. He's like, oh man, I've been unmasked here. But the people comfort him immediately, and just go like, no, it's all right. Like, it's like we're not gonna rat you in here, because Peter has been trodden on just throughout this entire film. Like, his life is a complete mess. Like, he's completely broken down. But that was the moment where he realizes that people are still kind, and that's something that Peter really needs right now in particular. And that's what lifts his spirits up, especially when the two kids bring his masks over, which are coincidentally Tobey Maguire's nephews.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I said, like, yeah, so we found this. Like, no, we won't tell anybody. He's like, it's good to have you back. You just see sort of Peter like, yeah, I needed this in particular. It's the fact that the community still embraces him despite how he feels away from his responsibility of protecting the city as well.
I don't know if I can reference Mr. Sunday Movies at this point, when they did their Caravan of Garbage covering Spider-Man 2, and they're always mentioning how Tobey Maguire he looks like a late 20s man playing a teenager, and he's just a kid, no older than my son, when what the guy actually should have said was, he's just a man, no older than my friend Terry.
I was wondering what else I was thinking, like, it's definitely Mr. Sunday, you'll laugh. I'm glad you've clarified. But yeah, no, the scene still holds up, especially in this day and age. Like, if that scene was to take place, we've got like, oh my god, I'm on this train here, Spider-Man saved, like, and here he is in real life, he's unmasked right here, this is the real Spider-Man. Like, there'll be hundreds of phones out of nowhere, just like exposing his identity. Yeah, but no, there's still a beautiful, tender scene that ages well to this day. We'll talk about the train battle a bit more in a minute.
Oh yeah, and that's why. So just full disclosure, I didn't want to have somebody winning or the same category. You know, I tried my best to do that. So we do have a winner that might not have deserved to win in this one just because of the next award, which we'll talk about in a second. But let's get into our winner here.
The winner of the In This Moment award goes to Gwen Stacy's death in The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, that's a good winner. That is a good winner. It's a great scene in an otherwise movie, you know?
Yeah, probably the best scene to me, because like in that movie, the thing that I love about at least that Spider-Man journey is that they tried their best to kind of bring the comic books into it, allow that to kind of dictate the story, which I really like. You bring Gwen Stacy in first and then MJ after, you know, but they didn't get a chance to bring in MJ.
Yeah, even though Chocolate Cake wasn't included in honorable mentions, there's some of them are still similar reasons I mentioned in that train scene in particular. So, you know, it doesn't matter either way. So
I didn't put up. Did you want to talk about the chocolate cake or no?
Yeah, just more or less. It was just more or less the same similar reasons I gave for the train scene in particular, because that's kind of like the turning point for Peter when Ursula, Peter's been absolutely dunked on throughout the film. Just to put it simply, when he's offered a chocolate cake and a glass of milk, it's, yeah, as he says, that would be nice. It's the first nice thing to happen to him throughout the film so far, and that's just like the upward spiral that he goes on from that moment onwards. But yeah, more or less the similar reasons I gave for the train scene. Yeah.
So speaking of the train scene, well, how did you guys feel? Did the Gwen Stacy death scene feel right for the In This Moment award? Is there another moment in the Spider-Man live-action movies that made you feel all kinds of ways? Let us know. Please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you can listen to our podcast as well. It's in the link below, and we'll talk to you guys next time.